Okay. Hey, everybody. My name is Rob, and this is the first time I've ever done a gear review on YouTube, so I thought it'd be kind of fun to move away a little bit from some of the music I've been doing and share some insights, if I can, on gear I've recently purchased or have tried out that I think might be worth your time. So, this obviously is an acoustic guitar. It's a Harley Benton CLD-41SE-WN, which is sort of their custom line. It's solid sit ghost roost top, walnut back and sides, closed tuners, bone nut and compensated bone saddle. With an electronic system, it's a Fishman Precis, which has a battery access port on the back, which is super convenient for change outs. I don't have to do that very often, but much better than going through the sound hole. But let me tell you about why I chose this guitar and my impressions of this. So I typically play like a Martin style dreadnought and have so for the longest time, and I realized a little bit ago that that guitar was probably 35, 40 years old. It didn't make much sense to be taking it out to open mics or coffee shops or acoustic shows, and I thought I wanted something that could, replicate the sound, like a big sort of resonant, bold sound, good for finger picking, good for strumming, good for a singer-songwriter kind of material, but also I didn't have to worry about, like if something happened to it, I wouldn't be heartbroken. And I also thought, something more modern might have just better electronics. Things have come a long way. So I looked around a bunch. I looked at Guitar Center. I went to try out Martins and Taylors and, Guild guitars. I tried some Paul Reed Smith guitars, the Angelus series, I think. All good in lots of ways. But I didn't want to spend a ton of money on an initial kind of like almost backup guitar. And I thought, why not experiment a little bit with some of the direct-to-consumer brands? I've seen Harley Benton advertised a ton. I've never purchased from there before. From Toman or from that line, and I thought, well, let's give this a shot. So I went ahead and ordered, and this guitar came. This has had no setup on it. These are the original strings I got 2 weeks ago. I have not adjusted the truss rod. Literally, this is just how it came out of the box minus the tags. And overall, this is a really, really solid guitar. And I'm not going to do a ton of playing because you can get better videos of folks playing online. This is more just my impressions. I'll do some playing, but I really want to kind of tell you what I think the pros and cons of this guitar are. So first of all, body shape, great. It's a dreadnought style, big, very resonant. I think it sounds good finger picking. It sounds good strumming, and I'll play some in a little bit to kind of demonstrate. Though I think there's better videos online you can hear that are probably more expansive about how people use this guitar. But for my purposes, I think it sounds really good. It compares favorably in my mind to a lot of much higher price guitars that are probably twice the price of this. Again, I paid about $330 US for it, plus shipping, which I think was very reasonable. It feels smooth all up and down the neck, all up and down the frets. I don't have any issues playing high or sort of in first position on the guitar. It feels very natural. It's easy to play, and the neck is very similar to the guitars I've used to in the past. I don't feel like I'm stretching or having to work hard to fret notes, so that's great. And honestly, it's just fun to play. So for me, a guitar is best when you pick it up and you feel like you can just kind of start making music with it. And this one is kind of like that. So I'm not fighting the instrument. I'm not having a hard time with something. There's no weirdness about it. But let me give you my out of the box experience. So I literally opened it up. It came detuned. Great. I tuned it up, adjusted the strings a little bit to make sure they were kind of like in position, retuned it, and then started playing. And immediately I was pretty impressed, though I really wanted to get the strings to be more dead sounding before I really evaluated. So I played on it for a couple of hours over the course of about 2 days. And a couple of things jumped out at me. One is the sound is really just, very pleasing to the ear, good mid-range, nice kind of shimmer sometimes, good bass notes but not overwhelming. That's great. Keeps tune well, so I don't have to tune a ton, and I do lots of alternate tunings, so that's kind of important for me to know that when I set something, it's pretty stable. And overall, just again, fun and easy to play. A couple of cons. So I mentioned a lot of high points in terms of the build quality, the materials used, the sound. I get both acoustic and electric, I think are great. But a couple cons. One, the tuning pegs are not awesome. They're not bad, they're just not great. And so there's a little bit of play in these tuners. So when you're tuning up or down, you'll see a little bit of motion in that before it actually engages the gears. That's, again, not bad. It keeps tune, but you can tell it's a bit cheaper. So that's something I might replace at a later stage. The other thing is that initially I thought the fret wires were a little rough. Again, they're not unfinished. There's no catch here. They're just a little bit less like rounded than I might be used to in a guitar that maybe where they've spent a little bit more time on the fret care. But after playing it for a couple hours, I didn't really notice it. I noticed it at first, and then it's just not something I even think about. So these are really minor, I think, things. That this one was more cosmetic. The tuners, we'll see how that goes. But right now, no issue. So how does it sound? Let me give you a quick demo. And again, you'll find better, I would say, longer form demos of all of the characteristics of this guitar online. John is Too Loud is a great resource. I like his channel quite a bit, and he does a pretty extensive demo of this, both plugged and unplugged. But let me give you some room sounds, and this is just what I'm hearing in the room, literally with one microphone, no reverb. So here you go. Okay, so what are my impressions of this guitar after having had it now for the last week and a half, 2 weeks? 100% I would buy this again. It's the materials, the build quality. I mean, I've not seen any issues. There's no blemishes on it. I haven't set it up again. There's been no change to the strings. So like stock, this thing plays really, really well. It's comfortable. I enjoy playing music on it. And that's kind of the idea. And I feel like it's going to be a reliable, guitar for me to learn and grow on it, and I'll grow into, which I think is fantastic. I think it punches well above its weight for the price. Again, I paid roughly $330 plus tax, or shipping rather, for it, and I would do so again. So no concerns from that perspective. And Thoman's customer service, has been really, really good. I got this guitar in 2 business days from Germany, so all good. So. Love to know your thoughts. Love to know any impressions or questions folks have about this particular guitar. And again, if you have some, just post them in the comments and I'll try to answer those as best I can. Thanks.